Some of the most common limiting beliefs and some of the worst are the limiting beliefs we have about ourselves. And what this means is that you've created some kind of belief system in your mind that stops you from being the best you. It means that you have over time developed a certain belief, and that's all it is, a belief, not a truth, by cherry picking different frames of reference and cherry picking evidence about who you are. And you've created a belief out of that. And I'm going to give you some of the most common ones here, but they often are labels that are unhelpful. They're unhelpful in that they don't allow you to have the confidence to be all of who you can be. All right? Now, a lot of the times you don't even know that you have these beliefs. Okay? If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I suggest you go and watch how to change your limiting beliefs. This will really help you on how to, once you know what your limiting belief is, it will help you to start to change that. Okay, it will also help you identify what limiting beliefs you have. But for now, I'm going to give you a prompt. And that prompt is, I am. I am. So if I were to say to you, if I were to ask you to describe yourself, right, I wouldn't say I am, because that would be talking about me. But if you were to start that sentence and finish it, how would you describe yourself? All right. And now I'm going to list some ways that people do finish that sentence that are limiting them. And ask yourself whether you, somewhere in your belief system, whether you have this belief as well. Oh, my computer has that belief. some belief. All right. So now the first one is, I am not enough. I am not enough. That is a common belief that people have convinced themselves of. And it can be, I am not blank enough, right? I am not, I'm going to go through others and I don't want to take them, but it could be something like, I'm not brave enough, or I am not strong enough, or I am not attractive enough, right? It can be, I am not something enough, or it can be just a generalization of that into, I am not enough. And when you believe that you're not enough, that means you're always trying to prove yourself to others in a way that is not authentic to you, right? We're all trying to grow, so it's not saying that you're fine as you are and there's no need to develop yourself. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that if you have the belief that you are not enough as a person, that you don't have self-worth, that you need worth, you need to get that worth from other people. You need to seek other people's approval in order to give yourself that worth. It's a very damaging belief to have, right? And it can cause all sorts of problems in your life. The next one is, I am a failure. I am a failure. And people start to label themselves as failures when they have failed at one thing. And a lot of people will say that you don't fail. You just you either succeed or you learn. And that's true, because you can usually try something again. And even if it's something that you are not allowed to try again for whatever reason, then it doesn't mean that you yourself as a whole individual, that you're a failure. But people generalize, unfortunately, generalize a couple of failures into I am a failure, right? And then they start to embody that belief. And it's this vicious cycle. It's this self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So that's number 2. And the next one is I am stupid. I am stupid. This is, again, a generalization of some mistakes that you've made, right? A generalization of some series of test results or whatever, right? Some questions you didn't know. And now suddenly you've generalized yourself as stupid. And then you start to convince yourself that that's a fact. Whereas, really, you can look at lots of evidence, that shows that you're not stupid, right? It all depends on how you choose, what you choose to focus on. All right, the next one. I am unlovable. I am unlovable. That happens often when people feel abandoned, when people feel like their relationship keeps breaking up, or maybe as a child they felt that their parents didn't love them, right? Maybe some tragedy happened. Maybe the parents actually did abandon them, right? Maybe even the parents died, and then the child started to develop a belief that it was their fault somehow, and that if their parents had loved them enough, then they would have found a way to live, right? This is a belief that some people have, believe it or not. And it's, as you can imagine, a very damaging belief, a very limiting belief, because then you start to really lower your self-worth. Your self-image becomes very low because you start to question whether you can even love yourself. And what you need to know if you have this belief about yourself, that you're unlovable, is that your lovability doesn't depend on other people, right? Your lovability doesn't depend on other people's ability to love you. Your lovability comes from your ability to love, your ability to give love, right? And that is in other people as well. So if someone else cannot love you, then that's their problem. That's down to them, right? It's not that you are doing something inherently wrong. It's that they lack the capacity in themselves to love you. All right. The next one is I am powerless. If you feel powerless in a certain situation, then you're not going to try to get out of it. You're not going to try to rise beyond it, right? So to feel powerless, to believe that you are powerless is in itself limiting, right? Because you need to believe that you have a certain kind of power over a situation in order to even attempt to get out of it. The next one is I am a bad person. I'm a bad person. Now, unfortunately, we have school systems that create this division between the good students and the bad students, right? And we have all these kinds of labels. And people get labeled from a very young age as a bad boy or a bad girl, right? And that can limit that child's thinking. It can limit the child's perspective and self-image, right? The perspective of who they are. And it can change their belief system so that they believe that it's not just that they did a couple of bad things, that they behaved badly. It's that they are a bad person. And when they have that belief in their mind, they will act upon that belief. And they will start to act in a way that is consistent with their own identity. And their own identity is, I am bad, therefore I guess I'm going to do bad things, right? So this can be an extremely limiting self-belief as well. And you can shift it. You can go beyond it. And to find out how to go beyond that, you can watch my other video. But it doesn't end at childhood. Remember, these are, it then goes into adulthood, and people turn into what we label as criminals, right? And then once someone is labeled a criminal, then they're known as a criminal for many years after that, unless they go through a rehabilitation program and everything. But the rehabilitation can take place much quicker on the inside. All right, the next one is, I am unimportant. I am unimportant. If you have a self-belief that you're not important in the world, in this universe, very popular thing to say these days is, well, you're so insignificant relative to the universe. You know how insignificant you are. You could perish and the universe would go on. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe the universe will go on, but you are the center of consciousness of the universe right now, right? You watching this right now, are you aware of any other consciousness in the universe in this second? Probably not. You're probably aware of your consciousness in the universe right now. So that is the center of consciousness of the universe right now. That's pretty important. And the universe will go on, but it will be different. And of course, things are always changing in the universe, right? Everything's in constant change, constant flux. However, we have a choice whether or not to believe that our own consciousness in the universe is important. We have a choice to believe what things are important and what things are unimportant, right? Always a choice. And how are you going to act if you believe that you're not important? How are you going to go about your days if you think they're not important? I have a bonus one for you, and that is, I am not creative. This is one that really irritates me personally, because I'm a creativity coach, and I do get a lot of people saying, well, I'm just naturally not creative. And I remember teachers at school would sometimes say things like, not too many creative people in this class, right? A psychology teacher said that. There are not a lot of creative people in this class. Whereas she was only thinking of people who could draw pictures well, which is a very, very limited view of what creativity is, right? And this is a belief that if you have it, if you possess this belief, then it can lead to a life where you don't try to create anything, where you don't try to produce much of value, because you believe that you can't. But I promise you, you can, because creativity is a learned skill, a learnable skill. And I do have a creativity course, by the way. So if you want, you can check that out in the description. There's a link in the description. You can get my creativity course. There are 18 hours worth of video lectures of how to become a creative, how to reach your highest creative potential. Okay, you can click on that if you want to learn more about it. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share it on social media so that it can help other people as well. And if you want more videos like this, click that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know when I post new videos. I also have a podcast called Identity Coaching with Movies, where I use movies as coaching tools for your personal development. You can find my podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or directly on my website, GabrielSeanWallace.com. I have a link to my website in the description below, and on it you can read my blog. You can learn more about identity coaching and creativity coaching. And if you're interested in getting one-to-one coaching with me, or you know someone else who is, then you can learn more about it there and contact me via the website. You can also take a look at my creativity course, my 18-hour creativity course that will help you to access your inner creator and skyrocket your creativity and innovation so that you can apply it in any project in your life, including, my friend, the grandest project of them all, yourself. You can find that creativity course on my website or directly in the description below. There's a link. Okay, my friend, keep growing into you.